Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Let the Minutes Reflect. My name is Shawn Hardie, and thank you for joining us today. And today's guest is a lawyer, reality TV star, and just an all-around amazing person. My friend, Symone Redwine. Symone, how are you?
Hey, Sean, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
No problem. As I was saying before the show, the reason I started this podcast was to interview people on my network that I think had really, really interesting stories. And from the research I did on you, and even before that, even before I dove into researching you, I always knew that you had an interesting story. And then when doing that research, I found out so much more interesting things about you, and I would love to dive right into those things. Like, for
All
example,
right.
um, when I research people, I usually just go right to their LinkedIn and I stalked them on LinkedIn, and it said that you earned a full scholarship to University of Pittsburgh at age 16.
Yes, that
How?
is correct.
How did
Okay, it
you
was,
end up in school at age 16?
okay, now mind you, I'm from Dallas. I was born and raised in Dallas, so I didn't know what a
Hmm.
Pittsburgh was. And effectively, the way I ended up with a full ride to University of Pittsburgh was because I was poor and it was free. So when I was a little girl, I was always an overachiever. When I was a little girl, I knew that I wanted to be an attorney. The way I decided I wanted to be an attorney is because I hate cleaning my room. So my mom would walk into my room and she'd be like, "This room's a pigsty. You're gonna have to get a real good job, like be a lawyer or something. That way you won't have to clean your own room. You could pay somebody else to do it." And I was like, "What? Cool." So it started there. And then as I understood what a lawyer actually did, I was like, okay, this is the perfect combo. Well, I asked my mom at age 8 how much was in my college fund because they had given one of my cousins some money to go off to college. He didn't go, and instead he bought a watch, which is his own story. And I told him with my 8-year-old, I was actually 7 with my 7-year-old knowledge. I told him he wasn't going to be nothing except for flipping burgers at Burger King. I asked my parents. Yeah, he still tells this story to this day. He's 50 years old now and very successful. But my parents, I said, Mom, Dad, you gave that money to him. He's not even your kid. How much do you even have in my college fund? And they were like, nothing. You're going to do like mommy and daddy and get student loans. And that's why you can't major in basket weaving or singing like Cyndi Lauper like you wanted to. I was like,
Hmm.
what? So from then on, I was very studious. Yes. So just really studious. I wanted to do academics. I weighed 98 pounds in high school. I didn't want to play any sports. I played golf and tennis. I was very mediocre at both, and they both seemed like work. I don't really like working or perspiring. So I was like, books it is. Yes, books it is.
So
Yes,
the funny thing is, the next question I was going to ask you is what inspires you to become a lawyer? And now I see why. It was literally because you didn't want to clean your room.
literally, I didn't want to clean my room. And I still don't like cleaning my room. And I have a maid to this day. She's very good. Very, very good. She's very, very good.
So, so you go to Pittsburgh, you go to Pitt. For the record, I went to Syracuse, so I don't like Pitt. We are rivals. I
Eh.
don't like your school. You guys in basketball, you guys just grab and clutch, and you want to win every game like 48-43. That's neither here nor there. So I'm looking at your LinkedIn, and it says you majored in finance, studied intern in London, did a inroads to internship. So why finance if you want to be a lawyer?
Here's the secret. If you want to be a lawyer, the number one thing that you should not do is major in poli sci. Don't do it. First of all, what the hell is poli sci anyway? First and foremost, it's the major of the thinking about government and stuff. That didn't help you through law school. But guess what finance does? It teaches you analytical skills. And most importantly, you major in something where if you're not able to go immediately to law school, you don't have to work at Starbucks. No offense to Starbucks. It's a wonderful employer, I'm sure. I don't want to work on my feet. And like I told you, I don't like to perspire. So I selected a major also based on the fact that, you know, part of the reason I wanted to be an attorney is because I wanted to help people and I didn't like being poor. Well, if you don't like being poor, what do you major in? Finance.
See,
So, yeah. And what's funny is when I was in college, my advisor, who was part of the School of Business, she kept pushing me to add a major of English or philosophy, like a bachelor of philosophy. I was like, ew, no, that is exactly what the Starbucks workers major is? Because I
You
used to
gotta.
ask him. I really did. Because that's one thing that my grandma told me, and she was like, look at people whose lives look the way that you'd like yours to live, and look at people whose lives look the exact opposite, and ask them how they got there.
Wow,
So
that's real
that's
shit.
what I would do. That's what I would
You've
do.
also you also shat on Starbucks twice in the first 5 minutes
I
though. We're not gonna sit.
really like Starbucks. No, I really like them. It's just that I when I say Starbucks, really what I mean is a job that you could have received without having gone to 4 years of school and paid for it. So that's my big thing. It's like for me, it would be my goal was to not graduate and my only skills be getting a job I didn't need to go to college for in the first place. So yeah, so I did finance for those reasons. I like the analytical reasoning and stuff too. And lo and behold, when I went to law school, what I found out is the more complicated your major is, the more leeway they'll give you with your GPA. So because I had a finance major, I didn't have to have a 4.0. But if I had been poli-sci or English, I would have. So I had like a 3.7, 3.67, something like that. And that was enough for me to get almost a full ride to Cornell Law. Mm-hmm.
Interesting. So, guess what my major was in college?
English,
No.
business,
Nope. Nope. I'm gonna
sociology,
I'm gonna sip my
general
wine and give you
studies.
two more. No. You mentioned it
Oh,
already.
God. Poli-sci. Who hoodwinked you, sir? Who hoodwinked your
All right. Do you
mind?
know? Okay. Here's why I was a poli sci major. I, like you, wanted to be a journalist when I was younger. That was my dream.
Got it.
Um, I, for some reason, never wrote for the high school newspaper, and I did not have the grades to get into the SI Newhouse School of Public Communications at Syracuse University. Well,
Yes.
the fact that, if you want to be a writer, it's like, well, how did you do in science? Like, well, whatever. So I was like, all right. And in
Yeah.
Syracuse, you don't have to declare major to junior year. So I was like, oh. so,
Okay.
so my thing was, I was gonna get a 4.0 my first semester, and I was gonna transfer into Newhouse. That didn't happen.
Got it.
So, uh, end of sophomore year came. I was like, I gotta pick something, and I looked. I was like, well, I got a couple credits in poli sci already. Uh, might as well just keep going, and that's why
Keep
I'm a poli
going.
sci major.
That's
Absolutely.
hilarious. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
hilarious.
So
And then
I
wait, so
felt
then what area did you work in upon graduation?
so after graduation, I bounced around from. Uh, I did like a bunch of retail jobs, but what I really wanted to do was I was trying to. Well, actually, after graduation, I was trying to get an internship because somehow through 4.5 years at Syracuse University, I was never got an internship. My
Yep.
God. Um, I was trying to get an internship, and I remember I actually applied to all of these schools, all these internships across the country, like every last one of them. Nothing, not nothing. And like I
It's
actually had started
oh,
writing. I actually started writing for the Hunter College newspaper, and I used those clips, and I went to apply for internships. Nothing. So I actually ended up like literally working retail while I searched for a journalism job.
mhm.
I actually started freelancing with the New York Amsterdam News in 2005 ish,
Okay.
and that actually gave me, because they're a reputable paper, and then I actually started working for, and then I got a job for the newspaper in South Jersey. So that's what I
Awesome.
did from college to actually starting journalism, which I did for a year and a half. Then I said, F this, but that's another story for another day.
Gotcha.
Back to
But
you.
funny enough, that's my second thing. That's actually what I want to do more of is journalism. So I'm working on building my portfolio as a legal expert and a legal correspondent and legal personality. So yep, that
That's
is my love. So oh my gosh, we're just like flip flopping. Yeah.
exactly. But now, see, at our ages, whatever we decide to do, we'll get paid a lot more for it than at 21.
Yes, yes. And the funny thing is with me in college, I had not one, not two, not three, I had 5 internships. I had one each summer starting the summer before I entered my freshman year, and then I had an additional one when I lived in London my junior
Hmm.
year because I had told myself you will not graduate unless you have an internship because I knew when you're entering the job market, unless you can get into one of those entry level leadership programs, you're
Hmm.
competing with people who are 56 years old who have a plethora of experience, who are, 40s, 50s. Why would they waste their money on me? I mean, I'm cute, but I'm not that cute, you know? So yeah, I said I got to get an internship. And so I did the Inroads internship program. It was amazing. I thank Inroads and I praise them. Once I get some money, I'm definitely going to donate to them because so much of my business success is from them. And then because of those internships, it was even easier for me to get law internships when I was in law school. I literally was making more money than my parents combined because it was during the economy crash, like
Mhm.
2007-ish, that I was in law school and they were paying us $2,500 a week. A week. I said, with my clothes on? Sure. Sure. I will. And I did. Because 2007, $2,500 a week.
2,500 a week. I
And
gonna do some math and see that
right.
$2,400 a
It was
week
like
times 52.
100,
That's
I
a
think
whew, that's
130 a year.
130 grand.
Right. Yeah. And I didn't know
Uh,
nothing. I didn't know nothing, but they didn't seem to care. So we, carried on. That's how law school is. But I went, but to be fair to those hearing it, don't just think you can go to any law school. I went to the number 10 law school in the world, Cornell. So that's why I had that. And I'm not school bougie. I actually happened upon that opportunity by accident. And I just want other people. So I really enjoy helping people do college prep. That's something I do on the side. Hit me up on Instagram at Symone Redwine if you need college prep.
yes, please hit her up, everybody. Tell your friends, your cousins, what have you.
Mhm.
So that's actually a perfect segue. I mentioned Cornell Law. So you go to Cornell Law. Um, then you go back home and what made you want to start your own law firm with your aunt?
Oh, because I was so mistreated and undervalued. Basically, my last straw was so when you go to the big firms, they overwork you, they underpay you, they treat you terrible. And I ended up working for this partner where he was very abusive. He used to make all the little white girls cry. So he made too many of the white girls cry to where the firm developed a new firm policy, which was give them to the black women. They reassigned him. They gave him a legal assistant so he could cuss her out, and they assigned him to me. They gave him a black associate, and he would cuss and he would fuss. He'd do everything except for throw things because he pretty much knew that wasn't going to work with me. And I was like, I ended up, he gave me an assignment and a task, and I ended up having to, it was the case of the Red Soul. So I represented Christian Louboutin against Yves Saint Laurent in the lawsuit over whether or not you could trademark the color red. And in working on that, I ended up having to miss my sister's graduation. Do you think he cared? No. He still cussed me out. And I was like, you know what? I'm sick of you. I'm about to take my talents back to Texas. So I worked it on out. Okay. I took some stress leave. That's a thing I could teach you, but I'd have to charge. I got stress leave. I took my talents back home to Texas along with a nice little opportunity, I'll say. And then I worked for a few years for another firm that I thought was my dream firm. I was doing wrongful death cases and products liability. So different products that, would kill or injure large groups of people, medical devices and those things. And while working there, I was the star employee. They praised me. And to no end. The direct boss that I worked for though was a woman. And long story short, what I discovered is they were underpaying me by $20,000. I asked for the market rate, which at the time was a minimum of $100,000. I had been out of
Hmm.
law school at this point for 5 years. They told me, no,
Hmm.
we don't pay based on your years out of school. We pay based on your years with this firm. 2 months
Womp
after I
womp.
settled, yeah, after I settled for that little amount of money, I found out they hired this white boy who graduated from law school 2 years after me, had not passed the bar, was not licensed in any state, and had never, ever, ever worked for a law firm. And they started him at $20,000 more than me. Yeah. And when I went back to him to say, "Oh, could you reevaluate? I'd like to ask for my salary to be reevaluated under the new pay structure." As in apply the rules to him they use for him to me. And they said, "Oh, no, 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 you already agreed to that. That's just what it is." I said, "But that's because you told me this was the rubric. You told me this is
Hmm.
the pay structure." And they were like, "Well, we can pay somebody whatever we want." I said, "Oh, Okay, cool. So from that, I made them fire me. I knew I wanted to open my own firm, so I made them fire me. That way I get severance and unemployment. See, bam, bam. So between my severance and my unemployment, it gave me a good financial cushion to start my own firm. And that's how I did it. So I did it out of necessity. I did it out of necessity. It's
That
because I
is
couldn't be beat.
that is an amazing story. Like, I'm not even gonna lie, I thought you were gonna say something like, "Well, I've got a job and my talk to my aunt. She still started her own firm." It's like, no, it was literally born out of fuckery and foolishness.
Fuckery and foolish. No, and when people tell you that shit, they lying. Okay, you don't just up and start your own firm because it's sunny outside. You do that if you're leaving a place that's comfortable. You do it because they forced you. Otherwise, if it was comfortable, you do what? Become partner there, grow there. When you go out and you take that risk on your own, it's because I would rather starve on my own than be a slave to you fools. And that's what I did. Sure, and I'm glad that I did. Go ahead.
No, no, go ahead, go ahead.
I'm glad that I did because in my first year there, I received my first really big case that I knew had a lot of potential. Long story short, it was a case that had been given to Benjamin Crump, and he looked into it and he declined. This is my niece.
Hi, niece.
You want more pizza? Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna tell this story. You stand right there, and then I'm gonna get you more pizza. So I had a case. It was a really big case. It was a wrongful death case of a kindergarten little girl. The case actually was initially with Benjamin Crump. He had looked into it and he said, "Oh, there's not really a case here," and gave it back to the family. And there were other lawyers too. Like literally, there were like four sets of lawyers between me. So I'm not saying he's not amazing. I'm just saying a lot of lawyers looked at it and declined it. And then it came to me, and I said, "Well, hold on, let me look a little further." Because this is how God works. At that firm that was raggedy to me, over there, what I did was FDA recalled medical devices and drugs. So when I found out about this case, I looked into the apparatus that was
Hmm.
involved that failed and was involved in the death of the little girl, the black girl. And sure enough, what I found out is it had been recalled by the FDA. None of the four lawyers before me ever did any such investigation. And I recently settled it for a great deal of money. Yes, for a considerable. I can't, you can't disclose what, but
Hmm.
I don't know if you can say a great deal of money, but I settled it for an amount that made it
More than
worth a
serviceable
while.
amounts.
Yes, and what was the best part of it is, had I been at that firm, right, I would have only gotten a little bit. Even when you bring them work, they weren't confirming to me like this would be your percentage. They were like, "Oh, it depends on how well you do." I was like, boy, bye. So I would have had to split it with them. And now, yeah. You know, I just say to anybody who's in a situation where you feel stagnant and you feel like you're not growing and you're working for someone else, baby, between PPP loans, the EIDL loan option, the unemployment that you can get with your state, plus the government added $300 a week. This might be and then negotiating a severance based on your years of
Hmm.
service to that entity. This might be the opportunity or the push that you need to get to happiness. Mhm.
That's legit. That's a great story. And you're right. Like, there's, as terrible as, the pandemic has affected everyone,
Mhm.
it's created opportunities for, like, even myself. Like, I started this podcast in December because I just wanted to, like I said, just
Yeah.
talk to interesting people and see where I could take it. So on the show Rated to Love, and we'll dive into that in a second. You had a quote in there and it said, I want to make sure I get this right. Being a lawyer is the only job for a black woman where you can be tough and people pay you for it. Uh, when did you realize
Absolutely.
that?
I think when I was doing it as a litigator. Well, you know what? I No, that's not true. I realized it when my clients were saying, like, I would have clients, I'd help them with a particular matter, and they'd come to me with something that was outside of my wheelhouse. And I'd say, well, no, I don't practice that type of law. And they were like, oh, come on, you can do it. You're smart and you're aggressive. No one's going to be as aggressive as you are. And I would laugh because it's like, yeah, I am really smart. And I'm aggressive when I know what I'm doing. I'm like,
Hmm.
oh, you okay, you're underestimating me? Bet. Because I get that a lot as a black female. They just assume, oh, she just doesn't know. But I know the nuances of law. So it came from my clients actually informing me that that is why they wanted me or would hire me. It's because I was sassy, I was aggressive, and I'm not good at quitting. I'm not. I'm not. Mm-hmm.
That's good to know. So, since you're not good at quitting, that means you're not going to quit this game we're about to play, which is called 21
Ah!
Questions.
Okay. Oh, that's a lot of them. Okay, let's go. I hope some of them
So,
are like
don't worry,
two-parters.
but it's rapid. It's rapid fire.
Okay.
So, literally, I'm just going to say like I'm just going to say it and either or. That's it.
Okay.
Okay?
Oh, it's kind of like when you're in therapy and they're like, close your eyes. What's the first word that comes to mind? Like that. Okay.
Kind
Let's go.
of, but I'm
Oh,
going to give you two choices. You pick one.
all right. Got
Okay?
it.
All right. B Day or lemonade?
What's the
Battle
first
those.
one?
B Day
Oh,
or lemonade?
B-Day. Woo, B-Day.
Okay. Mike Jones or Paul Wall?
Mike Jones.
Slim Thug or Travis Scott?
Slim Thug.
There you go, Houston, baby. All right.
Houston.
Meg or Cardi?
Cardi. Oh, no, that's hard.
Nah,
Cardi. Ugh. Okay, I said Cardi. I guess that's ugh, but I want Meg.
no, if you listen,
I like them both.
final
And
answer?
I'm a Houston girl. Meg.
Okay. Cardi or Nicki?
Cardi.
Beyonce or Janet?
Beyonce. Janet talks like this. Yeah.
Miami or Vegas?
Miami. I gotta be by the water.
I said this so on the last episode, my friend Tasha Adams was on. I asked her the same question. She said Miami. I was like, there's a difference between Miami people and there's Vegas people, and I'm not surprised that you said not that it's bad. I'm not surprised you said Miami.
That's
Um,
good.
Manhattan or Brooklyn?
Manhattan.
Dallas
Brooklyn's
or
gotten
Houston?
weird.
Yeah,
Houston. And mind you, I'm
yeah.
from Dallas. Houston. Houston. Houston.
Vodka or cognac?
Vodka. I don't really know what
Mo-
cognac is.
like Hennessy, Douce, that's cognac.
No, 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 no. No, thank you.
Moet or Vouv?
They're not the same.
No, Moet is and
Get
Vouv
out of
Clic,
here.
Vouv Clicquot gold bottles or Moet. I mean, they're both
Move.
champagne, but they're
Okay,
both
move. We'll say
okay.
move.
Shrimp and grits or cheese and grits?
I don't like grits at all. Ugh, but shrimp. Because I want some shrimp with
Really?
them. I don't like grits.
You okay? You may be the first Southerner I've ever come across that does not like grits because I've been told it's the Lord's meal for like 140
No,
years.
it's the texture. I had a very tumultuous experience with grits. Some like my aunt made grits and it looked weird. Didn't want to eat it, and my mom wouldn't let me get up from the table until I ate all of my grits. And it's just like the consistency, and it was buttery, and it was just weird. It tasted like it was supposed to be sweet, but it wasn't. Like yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
No, it was
I hear
weird.
you. Atlanta or Chicago?
God, I wish Atlanta didn't have all the down low brothers. Chicago.
Instagram or TikTok?
Instagram. I don't have a TikTok. I don't know what to do.
Uh, uh, you say that now. The
Right.
Wire or The Sopranos?
I've never watched it, but The Wire. I know. I would like that. I didn't have cable. I didn't have HBO. Who had HBO in college? The drug
I did
dealers.
not. I did not. However, there's this beautiful thing called HBO. Well, now it's called HBO Max, where you can literally stream every episode of The Wire at your convenience. Especially during this
Ah.
pandemic, watch it all. The Wire is
I
the greatest
I
show
always
ever
said
created.
like if we had another shutdown or something, that's when I would do something like that.
That's right. I forget you're in Houston where everything's open because COVID doesn't exist anymore. So it's just like, eh.
Bust it wide open and until you bring her back. Yeah, it's just like wide open. It's ridiculous.
Friday or
Ridiculous.
Bad Boys?
Friday.
Well, I was gonna ask you Watchmen or Lovecraft Country, but I don't know if you've seen either of them. Yeah,
Mm-mm.
neither. No,
Pass.
don't worry, I haven't seen either of them either. So whatever. Angela Bassett or Viola Davis?
That's a good one. I always love how she lit that vehicle on fire on Set It Off. That's how I behave. So I'm going to go with Angela Bassett. Yeah, final
Waiting to
answer.
exhale.
Wait, exhale. That's right.
Yeah. Would you rather go to the Super Bowl or Game 7 of the NBA Finals?
Game 7. It's indoors. I don't like perspiring. We've covered that.
Jordan or LeBron?
Jordan.
Last question. Onyx or V Live?
Ew. Oh, they're both so unsanitary.
Come
Well,
on, you.
what's his name? The Memphis boy got shot at V Live, so I'm gonna have to pass. I don't want to at the V Live in Dallas. I'm gonna pass, and I'm gonna go with Onyx. Wait, y'all have Onyx up there? There's Onyx in Dallas. What do you know about Onyx?
Well, um, I've never been to Onyx. However,
Allegedly.
no, I've never been to Onyx. I've been to V
Okay.
Live. And you know what's funny? It's interesting. My brother's bachelor party was in Houston, and because my brother is like the biggest um
Drake fan?
Southern hip hop rapper who
Oh,
like from like yeah, it's crazy. Like, and so I was like, so I was his best man. I was like, we should go to Houston because he loves Houston rappers, whatever. And I
mhm.
was like, I have no idea what to do in Houston. And I reached out to you, and you gave me
That's
I don't know if you
right.
remember, and you gave us this beautiful itinerary, and it was perfect. So shout out to you.
Yay, go me. It's funny. I love hearing stories about me doing things like that because half the time I don't remember ever doing it, but like that's the real Symone. And, with me having just left this reality show, it's like I'm really happy to be back to the real Symone because that Symone on TV, she was like not that fun. She was that cool.
So so actually, that's actually a perfect segue to Ready to Love. So for those who do not know, Ready to Love is a reality television show on the OWN network, the Oprah Winfrey Network, that just completed its third season, and our own Simone was on the show. Um,
Yes.
what would you describe? How would you describe the experience of being on a reality TV show? In fact, actually,
Yes.
what made you want to be on a reality TV show in the first place?
So I didn't want to be on reality TV. I wanted to be on that specific dating show. First, it was my favorite show. Second, I had just moved to Houston from Dallas for the sole reason of finding love. I left Dallas because dating in Dallas is trash. So I moved to Houston because I wanted to date, and Houston dating was awesome. And a week after within moving there, a friend was like, "Hey, you should apply to this dating show." And I was like, "What's it called?" And they said, I was like, "Bitch, that's my favorite show." And the thing is the only reason I hadn't applied to the show before is because they always had done it in Atlanta. And I was like, I am not willing to move to Atlanta to do that. Ugh. Plus I don't trust Atlanta men, which is another story. So yeah, so my sincere desire to find love, the fact I changed my whole life to do so, and then that it was my favorite show, I was like, oh, God wants me to do this here.
So what was the experience like being on the show? So actually
Yeah.
before you answer that, so
Yes.
full disclosure, I do not watch reality television. I don't. It's
Okay.
just not my thing.
No
However,
problem.
knowing you and I was like, you're a character, so I'm gonna watch. So I watched the first two episodes. So I watched like the intro episode and then the first episode when you guys were all together. But
Yes. What do you think?
what
Okay, what do you think of that first? Not that. Well, the intro. When you saw the intro, was that the Simone you remember?
Yes, that was like this is Simone.
Yes.
There's actually something that you said in that intro that we're gonna get to in a second. But
All right,
um,
let's do it.
what was the experience like on the show?
Great. So, and first I'll tell the premise. So the premise is it's 20 Black singles who believe they're ready for love. So they're all over the age of 30 and they're ready for a serious relationship. They're professionals who work a lot and for whatever reason have not yet found love. But each week there's an elimination. And what's cool is the opposite sex gets to eliminate you. And with the goal being at the end of the season, which is about 10 weeks, they end up with 3 couples left who are ready to love. There ends up being love triangles and all types of things like that. But what makes the show really fascinating, and it's a totally binge watch type show. When I first watched it, I binged it, is the fact that like there's 20 of us, right? And we're all Black. And so you see yourself in so many of the different characters. You can see yourself in these characters, or you see toxic traits, or you see like, oh, I don't want that. Or you might see relationships where like, oh my God, that's so beautiful. I do want that. And it helps you to self-assess, but also like it's great to talk to, if you have a partner, talk with your partner about it. If you don't, your girls, your boys. So that was the premises. And basically, what was it like to film? Now, we filmed in a pandemic. So what was different about my season is we filmed in a bubble. They literally bought out a resort in North Georgia that was totally secluded, and we
Mm-hmm.
lived there for weeks. Okay. We were mic'd 24/7. So it was a mix of speed dating on crack and like Love Island type thing.
Mm-hmm.
Speed dating on crack, because it's not a lot of time, but you got to get to know each other and you build these relationships and bonds. And some people are jealous and X, Y, and Z. So um, it was definitely emotionally tolling. It was grueling. Long days. We had like 14-hour days regularly, because you'd get up in the morning and
Mm-hmm.
they'd want you interacting with each other all day. You'd get up at like 9 and they'd be like, we don't want you in your room all day until you're ready to go to bed. And they want that to be like 2 o'clock the next day. So it was emotionally tolling. There was a lot going on there, but I definitely felt like overall, I definitely learned a lot. And if you want to catch it, you can catch it on demand, either on the Oprah Winfrey Network app, or whoever is your local cable subscriber. You can just
Mm-hmm.
put in "Ready to Love" and it's on demand. AT&T, Spectrum, all the above. Hmm.
So I'm not. I don't want to spoil it. I don't want to spoil it
No,
for
go for
anyone
it.
who hasn't
Yeah.
watched it yet. So definitely go and check that out. In the intro episode, you had a quote that said, they asked when they asked you like, who you are, why you're here. You said that I want to make sure I have this right. That when it comes to dating, um, if you don't want to see that person naked, you don't want to date them. That's where it ends.
Yep.
I'm sure there's a story behind that that made you that created that rule. If you feel comfortable telling that story, go ahead. If you
Sure.
don't,
Well, hold
okay.
on, hold on, hold on. The way in which you've asked this question is as though this is not like a fundamental truth.
Well, okay. Okay. Yes, I do believe that people who find people. Yes, I do believe if you find someone attractive by by associations, like you wouldn't mind seeing them naked, but I don't think that everyone when like I know in my life I never thought it was like I don't want to see that person naked because I don't want to date them. So like I figured when you
Well,
said that
because you never even got that far. Like everyone you've ever dated, you probably wanted to see them naked.
so so
Right?
when I okay
No, at some
yes.
point, like it wasn't even a concern. So here's my point with it. Okay.
Hmm.
Um, I want to have children one day. And so how do you have to do that? The only way you can have children is if you do it to each other. And if I don't want to see you naked, I have to take my clothes off to do it. That's the good way to do it. Okay. If I don't want to see you naked, I can't do it to you. Therefore, I can't procreate with you. Therefore, you cannot be my husband. Because we're gonna do it to each other and then we're gonna make the babies. I mean, we're gonna do it to each other, and then we're gonna get married. Or we're gonna get married and then we'll do it to each other. But the babies come last. My point is, yes, is that I feel that, yeah, I want to date someone that I'm attracted to. And the funny thing is, they're like, oh, she's superficial, she's superficial. I'll take it. Because at the end of the day, y'all be out here dating ugly, like some women be out here dating and marrying ugly men. And what do y'all do? Cheat on 'em. I am seeking to prevent that. Okay. I want one husband and zero boyfriends. The best way to do that is get you a husband you are actually attracted to. That's all.
So when I saw you say that, the first thing I thought was that like you dated somebody and then you guys were about to do the
That
do,
is
and when
true.
they were naked, and you're like, oh my god,
Now
that's what
that
I
is
thought
true.
happened.
That also happened. That did also happen. Now to be fair, I was on drugs. So
Wait a minute,
you
wait,
know,
no,
just kidding. Just kidding. It was prescription, I'm sure. It was a prescription.
no.
Adderall
do I
doesn't
have
count.
do, do I have to bleep that out?
No, it's okay. Adderall doesn't count. I had a prescription at the time. And that was years ago. Okay, that was 5 years ago. But I would like to blame my friend Whitney. If Whitney is watching this, you know Whitney. She lives in New York with the cute baby girl. She
Oh
introduces
no.
me to this man. Okay, sends me these pictures of him in the gym and So we're talking on the phone, this and that. And she's like, he's coming to town for, it was like a big football game. He's coming to town for this game, which is in a few weeks. You guys should get to know each other. He has a great job. He was a Morehouse man, but he also went to a top law school and had a fantastic job at like a hedge fund. It was making dumb, stupid money. Because that's one good thing about my girlfriend, Whitney. She will not introduce you to any poor people. She doesn't want that for you. She wants better. So anyway, she sends me the pictures and, and I'm talking to the guy and I'm facing, and I'm not realizing he's kind of cropped the photos. And he gets to town. He's got 2 stomachs, 2 of them. She never told me that he had some type of an injury, a lower body injury to where he couldn't work out anymore and had gained like 3 million pounds. Okay. So he got me real nice and drunk and he had a good personality. Okay. He looked like a fat Carlton. You know Carlton off of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air? Yeah. He looked like a fat Carlton, okay? And he didn't know he was fat. He kept wearing clothes that were too small because he was like new fat, which was like, that's how I knew it was related to his specific injury. And I gave the relationship just enough time for him to get on a workout regimen. He refused because he was a narcissist ultimately, and it didn't work out. But what I said to myself, because when I saw that second belly peek out, see, I had mirrored furniture in my room, and we're having, what is this called? We're having horizontal Bible study, right? And because I'm calling for Jesus. And I'm looking and I look to the right and I have this mirrored furniture and I see both of his stomachs going. And I said, oh God, this is not what I signed up for. And I repented at that moment. I repented and it was over.
I knew there was a story behind that line.
That's what
I
happened.
knew it. I knew it. Oh my goodness. Okay, to the people listening, I'm sorry my chair keeps making noise. It's terrible, but okay.
I'm still so angry about that. Whitney, you owe me. You better send me a man with no belly.
Do I need
Period.
do okay? Do I need to bleep out her name?
No, it's only her first name. I have a few friends named Whitney. It's fine. And
Okay,
she'll think it's
perfect.
funny. She's good.
Okay. Um. So during the show, would you ever do a reality show like? Would you ever do a reality show like that again, or any reality show? Period.
Good question. You know what? And the answer is it would really just depend. If I did it again, I would need a little more control over how I'm depicted because the way in which I was depicted, one of the things you'll see with Ready to Love and with that show is there were some situations that went on where only a portion of the facts were shared. But by the
Hmm.
end of the season, additional facts were shared with that made my behavior make a little more sense. I'll put it that way without giving
Okay.
it. And to some extent, I felt vindicated. But I thought it was just very ridiculous that it took 11 episodes to get there.
Mm-hmm.
And all the while, like, she crazy, she crazy, right? No, what I was is I was brilliant. Okay. Because I was the only one who had the sense enough to figure out what I figured out, kind of like a game of Clue. Clue, but with dating. Think of it that.
Hmm.
So it would depend on the show. If I had a little bit more control over how I'm depicted. And really, all I want is to ensure that the truth is communicated. Because there were material facts that, I'm not going to get into, but like important stuff that once people saw at the end, they were like, oh my God, that's why Symone did this or that or the third. So it came together at the end. Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm. And I would
What
need to
would
get
you
paid a
tell?
lot more.
Okay. What would you tell 21-year-old Simone Redwine
I would say.
if you could give her a piece of advice?
First, I would say, girl, if you don't leave that boy alone, leave him be. Leave him alone. Go get away from him. And Symone, you know what I'm talking about. Get out from over there. And then this other one, this dumb one, is running back. Leave him alone too. Leave both of them alone. Okay. And
You're
then
gonna
I
say
would say,
names?
no, I'm not going to do that. They know who they are. And so does all of their family that's going to be watching. Okay, but then I would say to Symone, you're so much smarter and wiser than you probably realize. Trust yourself more, trust your judgment more. You've got a good plan, and you should have minored in journalism, girl. It didn't exist at my school; it wasn't a thing, but definitely focus and don't give up on your journalistic dreams. I would tell 21-year-old Symone that because I realize like I'm kind of a natural. That's part of what makes me a great lawyer is I'm an excellent storyteller.
And I would tell 21-year-old Simone, do not study journalism because guess what? Journalism don't pay. They don't pay, and you want to make
Minor.
bread
That
as
is
a
true.
minor. Yes. Um,
Okay.
what don't people know about Symone Redwine that they absolutely should?
They don't know that I'm actually really, really intelligent. Not just smart, but like I'm intelligent with like a breadth of knowledge. And my hobby is to share it with people. What makes me happiest is if I can help a friend by helping to solve like a real life problem that they have in their life by using my obstacles that I've overcome or hardships or just different things in my life. So I think a lot of people don't realize because I joke a lot, they don't realize that Simone is actually intelligent. She chooses to joke because I love making people happy. I love making people smile. I love taking your day from, the pits to excellent. And so I think overall, what they don't realize is she's smart, she's kind, she's funny. And um, overall, like I love people and I love helping people. And I don't think that that's necessarily clear. Probably because I do joke a lot.
Well, excuse me. Well, Simone, thank you for your time. I really appreciate you taking the time out, especially while you're watching your niece, to come talk to me and tell these amazingly funny stories, which I knew were going to be funny, but they're even funnier than I thought. So thank you very much. But is there anything you'd like to plug? Obviously, you have Ready to Love, but is there anything else you'd like to plug?
Awesome. Yes. Follow my Instagram, which is right here below, Symone Redwine. You can see that there. As I have additional content that I'm adding, everything pretty much has like a legal or informative slant. It's kind of like infotainment. And I'm also going to be dropping my YouTube channel soon, which is called Is That Legal? Where I answer people's legal questions. And if you have a legal question, feel free to DM it to me at Symone Redwine. You can start there and just stay tuned for more. You can also go to my website, which is girlisthatlegal.com.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And for everyone that's listening, if you like what you heard or seen and you're not a subscriber, please subscribe to Let the Minutes Reflect. We're available on all podcast platforms. You can follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Let the Minutes. You can follow me on Twitter at Shawn TW. And as Simone said, you can follow. Are you on Twitter?
Oh yeah, I am. My Twitter is girl. Is that legal? That's my
Yes, you
Twitter.
just
So
said that.
follow me there
Duh.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
follow.
I
So
forgot.
yeah. So follow
Thank
her
you.
on Twitter. A girl is that legal, and you can follow her on Instagram at Symone Redwine. So for Simone, I am Shawn Hardie. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. I enjoyed it.
This was great. This was
Awesome.
absolutely hilarious.
Okay, so all I have to I want to ask from you is if you could crop at some point, no rush,
Mhm,
crop the story that I told that made you laugh, the dating story, because I want to start doing dating chronicles on my YouTube and
mhm.
whatever. So crop that story. Make sure you like if you could send it to me, and I'm going to use that as a pitch to get people to watch your interview, this interview,
Okay.
and then make sure you
Okay.
put like your YouTube or whatever at the bottom so people see
Mhm,
it, laugh on my IG, and I know it's a few minutes, so it'll probably be IGTV. I don't care. But then
mhm,
also, what I was going to send to you is that quote that you're talking about. I actually have a
mhm.
clip you can incorporate into this if you like.
Okay. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
So
I'll send it to
what
you.
I'm going to do is, so I'm actually, I told myself I'm going to put all my episodes up on my YouTube channel. But what I do is I find 3 or 4 good clips and I put them on social media. So I take one.
Dope.
No, okay. So what I do is there's gonna be like a 90-minute one I'm gonna put on LinkedIn. But that's gonna be more like about the professional stuff, like the story you told about like
Mm-hmm,
the salary thing. Like yeah.
mm-hmm.
So I'm do that, and then I'm gonna find like 2 or 3 clips I'm gonna put on Instagram and TikTok and Twitter. What I also gonna do is what I'm also gonna start doing is that I'm gonna send them all to you, and then you can put them on your stuff. And I'll send you, and I'll clip the so I'll send you the dating story, the one about the belly.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'll send you the whole thing, and then I'll also send you the clips that I'm going to put on YouTube. Because what I've realized is, and this is probably a tip to help you as
Thank
well.
you.
You want to take like, so Instagram loves reels. So and if you
Yes.
do a lot of reels, so like just take like the 30-second clip of that's gonna go viral and just put that on there. So
Oh,
like I'm gonna send
okay.
you everything.
Okay.
I'm gonna send you everything
Yeah.
I'm gonna put up.
I trust your real. I trust your real
Okay.
situation.
Yeah,
Awesome.
so everything I'm gonna clip. I'm gonna send you like I'm gonna actually gonna send you the actual file so you can put it up anywhere you want.
No, you're
Okay.
good. Okay, that's good.